Hello. hello, everybody. Welcome to our stream. Let me just turn everything on. hello. Oh man, I'm gonna try to pronounce your name, Hoss in Reservoir, maybe. And hello, and also hello, Pomanzana. You guys have very interesting usernames, or I guess like handle names. Hello. Hope you guys are having a good weekend so far. Good Saturday, hopefully. Sorry. No, it's always cool. It's a nice little I don't know, challenge whenever see a interesting name in the chat. I was like, oh man, how am I gonna pronounce this? Also, I wonder if like whenever people make, like myself included, like when we make usernames, I wonder if like we have like a way of pronouncing it in our head. Because I feel like for me, I'm like, I don't know, I kind of just make the name as something you just read, but you don't pronounce out loud. So I don't know, I feel like for me, I don't think of it too much for my own names. I just kind of like, oh, here's a jumble of letters. This seems really cool and everything. Oh, that's your real name? Oh, okay. That's cool. Wait, okay, is it Hossai? I thought it was more of like a Hoss in Reservoir. Or is it like Hossein or Hassan? Maybe I'm completely mispronouncing it. Sorry if I am. But that's cool. I guess like real names work too. And hello, Miro. Hello, Ethan Shadrach. Made it on time? Yes, you guys have made it on time. We haven't started just yet, kind of just welcoming those in the chat. And also, hello, Zappora. I think I saw you there. Yes, hello, hey, Zappora. And hello, Kelzoon, art time. Yeah, it's gonna be art time. I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm a little bit tired, but I think it's because I just like ate lunch and everything in that lunch was a little bit on the heavy side. Had a bit of some Shanghai food. It's like actually I don't know what it's called. I think they're like pig fat jelly meat cube. Okay, this sounds really disgusting, but it's like some kind of pork jelly, and it's like the ones where it's drenched in like chili oil. It's like really good. It's like a cold dish. I love it, but I think it's like it was a little bit heavy, so I'm a little bit I'm a little bit sluggish now. Waves. Yeah. Hello, Zipporah. I just ate my dinner. I had BBQ. Oh, nice. Outdoor barbecue or just like barbecue type food? If it's outdoor barbecue, that's nice. I haven't had that yet in the summer. I think it's just that it's a little bit too hot recently for it. Cool, strange, but I would try it. Yeah. If you eat meat, then yeah, I highly recommend Shanghai food and like pig ear and like those meat, I don't know, pork cubes. Those are super good. He lost an arm, sadly. I think it's just I ran out of space, I think, when I drew this one, so it's missing an arm. Yeah. Hi Josh, and all first streams since I got my PC fixed. Hey, awesome. Hey Leolo. Glad you were able to get your PC fixed. Nice. Cooked on a barbecue and ate inside. It's cooler. Ah, nice. I feel like that's always a vibe. You know, cooking outside and then bringing the food in. Dinner, it's almost 23 here. Ooh, sheesh. That's well, hopefully you get some food soon. Hopefully you're eating while watching. I feel like that's a good time. Hello, Silvercomb or Silvercomb. I don't. Oh, Comet. Oh man, I did not see the T. Silver Comet. Hello. Heard there were mechs. Yes, we're gonna be drawing some mechs. Well, I'm gonna be finishing the mech design. So I guess there's a good intro segue to what we're gonna be doing today. Hello everybody, and welcome to today's stream. My name is Josh, and I'm one of the hosts here on our Wing Canvas YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. We are called Wing Canvas, and we are a YouTube channel where we offer free arts education as well as do these live streams. But we're also not just a YouTube channel, we are a school of education. So if you didn't know, we have a website called wingcanvas.com where you can find a whole collection of classes that you can watch and attend. And if you've always been wanting to improve your art skills and kind of curate your portfolio, then check us out. Yeah, our summer term has kind of just started, and also our intensive. So if you would like personalized feedback on your artwork or get some portfolio guidance, that is exactly what we do in our mentorship and VIP programs. And we also stream twice a week on our YouTube channel on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Eastern and Mondays at 12 p.m. Eastern to help you learn any kind of art fundamentals, as well as answer your questions in the chat as best as we can while drawing. But if you want some accountability and personalized feedback and career guidance, then definitely check out our website and maybe consider becoming a member, where you can learn even more from us and interact with us at a more kind of one-to-one type of a style in our classes. But if you weren't able to attend any of our classes and you can only attend YouTube, then I highly encourage you guys to like and subscribe so that you guys are always notified of when we go live and what topics we're going to be going live in. But if you are able to support us, you can also check us out on Patreon, where with just a few bucks a month, you can get perks such as monthly live class recordings, emotes, badges, and also access to the members-only chat and critique over on Discord. And speaking of Discord, follow us over on Discord, on our community channel, as well as on Instagram. On Discord, we post basically everything on there, including the demo files, the notes. A lot of our main announcements also go up on Discord first. Instagram, we share all of the demos, but sometimes they're cropped or adjusted to better match Instagram's kind of like UI interface. But yeah, best place to follow us, Discord. And if you just want to kind of stay updated, then Instagram is also great as well. So yeah. Excuse me. So, is your Discord server active? Yes, it is. So the community Discord is totally active, and I highly recommend, just like support, I highly recommend that you join us. It's totally free. It's just that the members one is, well, paid only, but everything else totally open to the public. But yeah, so if you guys are just joining us and you are wondering like, oh, what are we doing today? We are going to be finishing up the mecha character design that I worked on last week. So if this is a bit of a surprise to you, guess what? This is actually part 2, but no worries. You're not missing anything. I'm just going to quickly catch you guys up as to like what we worked on and kind of what the plan is for today's stream. Today I am going to skip the monthly art challenge. Maybe I'll make a quick mention of that. Basically, every month we have an art challenge that happens over on Discord on the art challenge section. So if you ever want to participate in our community art challenges, check it out over on the art challenge section in the community Discord. This is an example of the art challenge prompt for this month of July. So it's mastering mood. Unfortunately, did not have enough time before stream to go get some images, but the month of July we're only like halfway through, so you guys have plenty of time to participate in it, submit any kind of pieces, and as long as it's appropriate and it is matching to the theme, or like your piece matches the theme, you might get a chance of a shout out where we'll kind of give a little bit of love back to the community. So yeah, check out our monthly art challenge over on Discord. And yeah, so okay, recapping again as to like what we did last week. This is what I had last week. This was kind of like the work demo sheet over here. So I was kind of in charge of figuring out what kind of design that we were going for. So I grabbed some images of some mech designs over here. So I grabbed some from like Evangelion, grabbed some from Gundam, as well as Eureka 7 to get an idea as to the shape languages, as well as kind of like the shapes and design, maybe like cliches, I guess you could say, that go on to mech designs. And then we kind of broke down the direction that we would go in. So we took some notes as to what are some things I want to include and think about when designing the character. And the theme for the character design was speed, as that was kind of what people voted for last week. And so we kind of like figuring out like, okay, what can I add onto the design to help it feel like a speedy character? And then we looked up some references just for some aid and guide in terms of like the poses, as well as maybe like the color scheme. So that's what all the references here are for. And then we came up with a rough. So that's what we see over here. So this is kind of the rough design at the moment. And then today we're going to be cleaning it up. So I'm going to take this design and have a rough overview as to how I want it to look. And I think for today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the poses here in the reference. Sorry if you hear the laundry machine chime, but that's the sound in the background. And then, yeah, I'm going to take one of these poses here, and I'm going to put my character in one of these poses, or this mech design. So yeah, that's going to be the plan for today. And I believe that's going to be kind of it. And hopefully we'll get a chance to clean up the design and, yeah, have a final one. So I do realize a little bit of like a mini update that the design is a little bit too complicated. So for the cleanup, I am thinking of finding a way to simplify it and streamline the design a little bit so that it'll be a bit easier to draw. And if you guys have any questions while I'm working on the design, do let me know. And also, if I do sound sick, I am no longer sick. I was a little bit sick maybe like a few weeks ago, but I don't know. It's lingering around. So if I sound like I have clogged sinuses, I do not, but it just sounds like maybe I do. And I might not need to, like, I don't know, drink some water every now and then. So, so you'll have to stick with me for a bit as I am, you know, dealing with like stuffed noses and clogged sinuses. And if you hear any kind of like rapper sounds, it is me reaching for some Halls. Well, not really Halls. This is Buckley's. Buckley's is like a Canadian, I think, sore throat candy or brand. That's not a candy, but sore throat medicine. So I'll be kind of humming, chewing on the, not chewing, I don't know, like just, you know, I will have one in my mouth while we stream. So if I sound like I'm eating something, it is some Buckley's throat lozenge candy. Okay, so over here, yummies, yummers. Are they yummy? Do people like Halls? I don't know. I kind of like the taste of it, but it is very much like a, the moment I taste it, it's like, this is the taste of like being sick. I don't know if that makes any sense to people, but yeah. Okay, so I like them, but I wouldn't like them like candy. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I have the rough over here on the side, as well as the references. So I think we'll just focus on the drawing itself. A swifter recovery. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's weird. I'm not sick, but it sounds like I'm sick. I don't know what's going on. Let me see. Yeah, you know what? I'll keep the layer panel on the side. Okay, so, oh yeah, I was gonna kind of explain how I kind of extract poses. So we didn't really get to that. I think I'm going to take the first guy, like the ice skating guy. I quite like that guy. Like, that pose is pretty cool. So I think I'll take this one. I think it'll be a really cool speed running kind of a pose. Actually, that one might be a little bit hard to get, so I might get this one here. So, sorry, I'm just screenshotting on the other side, so you can't see it, but I'm going to take this one, and we're basically going to use this as the template or the foundation for building out our pose. So if you've never seen me do this before, I did this with the Miles Morales drawing, and basically the way it works is grab a reference and trace on top of the reference to extract the pose or the mannequin. And I highly recommend that you give this a try, especially if you're not that great at drawing poses. Let me see. Do you think it would be easier to draw a stick figure to help with complicated poses? Yeah. So this is exactly what I'm doing with this one here. Here, you know, I'll use this guy as a reference for how to do this one before I go to the skater lady. So if you guys have ever tried to draw a figure before and it's like you're like feeling, oh, it's really complicated, there's too much to kind of work through, what I recommend is finding a reference of a just like somebody standing there. It could be like a very, very basic pose. And what I recommend is deconstructing the pose kind of in a way like a stick figure, not exactly like a stick figure, but sort of in the same vein. So I'm going to show you guys how it works. And if you ever watched the Miles Morales stream that happened like a few weeks ago or maybe a few months ago, this is basically the same thing, but we're going to now take this and apply it to a brand new character. So what you want to do is grab that reference, put it as its own layer, make a new layer on top, lower the opacity of the reference layer. So you can see here on my screen the opacity is lowered, so we can kind of see our lines a little bit better. And then you're going to, oh, you know, if anybody wants to, you guys can screenshot this and follow along if you want to. You don't have to, but if anybody has trouble finding poses or reference poses and you want to follow along, you can. I'll leave this here for a few seconds so you guys can screenshot it, and then we'll kind of go along with it. So I'll give you a few seconds. Give you guys 5 seconds. Okay, that's it. That's it. That's all the time you get. So now I'm gonna draw over to show you guys how it works. So on the new layer, I'm going to start with the head. And the goal of having a reference photo to trace on top of is that you get to kind of analyze and break down a pose without having to worry about knowing how to draw something or knowing how to break down on the side. Drawing over something takes away any of that pressure and that burden of needing to draw an accurate drawing, because now all you have to do is trace on top of the image. And so I'm going to start on the head. And what I like to do is I like to map out where like the circle of the cranium is. And that's usually going to be like the back of the head and the top of the head, you know, the upper lobe. And then I'm going to have it be a straight line down. Because this is a mannequin pose that we're going to break it down into, you don't have to worry about the complexities of and the details of the reference. We really want to break it down into very, very simple shapes. So I'm going to connect the face up the jaw, and then I'm going to actually split the head around here for where the eyes are, and then I'm going to map out where the eye direction is. So around here. So it's looking kind of this way. And then I'm actually going to skip the neck. I'm just going to maybe mark this line there to kind of just show roughly like where the direction is. Then I'm going to mark where the shoulders are. And I'm going to connect the two. And now I'm going to outline the silhouette and the shape of the torso. And I'm going to make it relatively rectangular. So I'm going to break it down like here. Because if I mark it out here, it's going to be more trapezoid. It's going to be wider at the shoulders, and I don't really want that. So I'm going to cut it around here. So it's a bit more rectangular. And I'm just going to trace it. And I'm going to... You can use curved lines if you want, but I actually recommend using straight lines. Because straight lines easier to draw than curved lines. And curved lines make things just more ambiguous, whereas straight lines make things more clear. And then I'm gonna end it at the hip around the pants. And then I'm gonna extend it down towards like the groin area for like the waist. So now we have kind of the flow and general direction of the body. So we have something that looks like this. And if you want to, I would also mark roughly where like the pectoral muscles are and how they kind of lean towards the shoulders, like that. So it looks something like that. And then you can even mark the belly button if you want to. It's not really a big deal. We don't really need it, so I'm not going to mark it. But if you want to, you can mark it. And I'm going to mark where the waistline was. Now with this, what I'm going to do is mark where the shoulders are and the leg joints are. So I'm going to indicate the joint, like the sphere joint for the shoulders. They don't have to be perfect, but I would try to make them circular and kind of fit inside of the body, like around the torso. And then I'm going to mark the center point of the elbow. So not the elbow point itself, so not here. I'm not marking it there. I'm marking it here because that's kind of like the hinge point of where the arm is actually bending. So same thing out here. I wouldn't mark it here. I'd mark it here. And I'm going to connect the shoulder core, the center core of the shoulder, to the elbow, because I want to find the trajectory of the arms, not the size of the arms, but just the angle and direction that the arms are pointing in. And then I'm going to mark where the wrists are. And again, same thing, I'm just going to connect the elbows towards the center of the wrist with as straight of lines as I can. And then with the hands, if the hands are important, I would just recommend blocking in the glove shape. So they should kind of feel a little boxy, maybe a little bit like a mitten or like an awkward hand shape. Let me see. Catching up on stream. Do you think it would be easier to draw? Oh wait, I kind of read that. There's like this app where you can make any pose you want, kind of. You gotta pay for some stuff, but there's still enough to be useful. Oh, that's great. Yeah, there's a lot of like poses or pose apps out there that help with that for sure. Yeah. And then I'm gonna mark here. It's kind of around like the middle. So if you're like, oh Josh, how did you mark here? Like, why did you mark there? I kind of looked at roughly where the butt is, and the butt kind of makes a bit of like a bracket. So I put the leg joint in between, in the middle. And then with the knees, I'm going to, again, roughly mark where the center of the knees are. How you draw a smartphone with limbs? Wait, I don't know. I guess you can have like the limbs stick outside of the limbs, or outside of the phone. And then I'm gonna draw another line towards the center of like the ankles. So I'm drawing the ankles with circles. Honestly, it doesn't really matter too much. The whole point is just to teach you to observe the direction and the angle of the limbs, not worry too much about the mass and the shape of it. And then with the feet, I'm just going to mark it as like very simple triangle feet shape. Kind of like they're actually closer to trapezoid, but kind of like socks. Just think about the feet as socks. Don't worry so much about the toes and all that kind of stuff. Now, if I take away the reference image, this is what we're left with. So, kind of like what somebody said here is like, can we turn it into a stick figure? Oh yeah, it was Crazy Dash. So Crazy Dash asked, can I turn it into a stick figure to help with complicated poses? And this is exactly what we just did. We took a very realistic, grounded pose like this and extracted the only information that we need to help us draw a pose, which is this. So now we can turn this into anything. We can draw a like mouse character like this. We can take an elephant character and match it to this. We can even take like a pillow and match it to this pose, because now instead of getting caught up on all the details like anatomy and the muscles, we can focus really on the direction that the limbs are moving in, and also like the weight and balance of the pose. So now that we kind of walk through how to do this, I'm going to shrink this down so we can kind of have it on the side. I'll put this here. And I'm going to take this. And put it over here. So you can kind of see the two and kind of how they work. Alright, there we go. And okay, these two, I'm gonna put them atop. I'm gonna say figure breakdown. Figure break down. Did I type that right? I think I did. Okay. Pillow OCs sound fun. Pillow exercises are so much fun, yeah. You can draw a smartphone with limbs like this. I guess you could. It's like kind of the same thing. Okay, so we're going to take the actual one that I'm trying to extract information from. So this is our skater. And I'm going to be taking our mecha character design and trying to match it to the same pose as this person here. Now, this one's a little bit of a trickier pose, so I'll try to do my best to extract the information from. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to map out roughly the shape and placement of the head. And luckily for me, you know, it looks like, you know, because we're looking at it from a head down, or yeah, angled that's higher up, and her hair is like really tied back, it makes the shape of her head much more easier to spot. And I can kind of see that this is the shape of the mannequin head, and then also her eyes look to be kind of pointing this way. Now, with poses like this is where it gets, doing this kind of gets a little bit tricky, and that's why I recommend doing it for poses closer to this in the beginning, because everything's kind of on display, the person's not hunching or twisting their body in really crazy ways. It's kind of at a more standard normal pose and angle, so it's easier to observe where all the limbs are and how the body is twisting. So that's what I mean by everything's on display. This one, however, is a little bit trickier because of all the complexities that is happening with the body. So we're going to take it a little bit slower, but I'm going to take the shoulder on the other side and the other shoulder here. Because I can't see the body, I'm going to assume the other shoulder is here based on the position of the arm, position of the body. So the body, torso breakdown will probably be somewhere like here. And then I'm going to map out the shape of the torso, so it looks like it's like a hunched back. And then I'm going to straighten it out. So this is a little bit of a special information that I usually only tell my students, which is that for sitting poses, try not to over exaggerate the hips. So there's a little bit of a misunderstanding when it comes to drawing torsos, that everybody draws the hips swiveling a lot. So what do I mean by that is, whenever people draw people sitting, everybody's kind of hips, they look a little bit like this when they first do like a torso breakdown. They're like, oh yeah, the hips are gonna look like this, and the legs, they're kind of positioned like that. Here's the funny thing, your hips can't actually bend that much, so usually your torso is kind of maybe hunched or slouched back a little bit. And then your hips maybe angle a little bit to the front, but most of the angles and bending that is happening with your hips is actually happening with your legs. So when we see our body and our legs crunching forward, it's actually really just your legs that are moving. It's not your hips. So when you deconstruct the body here, your hip is not actually bending all the way forwards or anything like that. It's actually not that flexible. So when you deconstruct it, keep it fairly level. Obviously, it can bend forwards and backwards like a little bit because your spine can arch and it can move, but it's not gonna like fold in on itself like a hinge. So when you break down, just keep that in mind. And then I think I can see the spines like somewhere around here. And then we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna take the red, break down where the shoulder is, mark where the elbow is, connect the two, build out the shapes. Now for the other side, we can't really see it, so I'm just going to imagine where I think it is and just kind of base it off of like an educated guess. So same thing, I'm looking at roughly the center of where the hips would be. So if this is the leg, and then here's the butt, think of it as like one big joint. So the middle of the leg, or the leg joint, is going to be like here. And then we have our knees, so the leg is going to be bending this way. And then we have our ankle, so again, same thing going here. And then we have our leg kind of pointing forwards, it looks like. So that's kind of cool. So we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. And I like to break it down into these really simple forms and shapes because it's way easier to deconstruct a shape and form that's like this than trying to do like a crazy three-dimensional mannequin. Or at least I think so. So this is kind of what we get with our deconstruction. And you know what? I guess I'll make the canvas a little bit wider, so we can duplicate this. So this is the tricky part, I guess, where I'm going to try to figure out, do I want to copy it straight, like as is, or do I want to change it a little bit? I'm not too sure, but maybe we'll do a quick rough. So if you guys have ever watched the Spider-Man drawing, I took the breakdown, which is this one over here. Maybe I'll write it down, actually. This is the photo breakdown. Then the next thing I do is actually try to translate or attach my character to this pose just as is. So I don't try to proportion or change the proportion of my character. I try to match some of its designs to the mannequin, and then I change it again one more time to better match the actual proportions of my character. So I'm gonna give that a shot. And oh, actually, let me also open up my wonder if it's still nice. Okay, so I have these reference images, inspirations on the side in case I need them. Whoops. And I'm just gonna pin this. Okay. Okay, I also have my design on the side too, so I kind of know what everything looks like. Actually, I'm gonna quickly. I'm wearing like a sweater because the house is a little bit cold, but it's starting to get a little hot while drawing. Okay. Seems like the character is looking. You know, maybe we'll change it a little bit so it's like a 3/4 look, because that's how I have the character designed. And I think I kind of want it to be. We'll draw like rough. This is where all the tricky stuff happens. You're gonna have to really kind of pay attention in a way, like how the proportions are gonna work out. This is where I gotta, you know, lock in, I guess. This is tricky. But I guess I did say I want to simplify it, so I think while I'm drawing it, I'm gonna try to simplify it a little bit. Maybe the helmet's a little bit too complicated, so maybe I'll change that a little bit. Maybe I'll change also the shape of this here. And then that's not too bad. It's like a little bit more of a simplified version of the original design that I had. And the hat It's gonna go this way. Do you know how to do a blur effect? I mean, actually, do I? I don't think I've ever really tried it. I could try with the smear brush and see if that gives it a similar effect, but I don't think I don't know if it'll be like the same, kind of give it the same effect. I don't know, give it a try, give it a shot. Alright, and then let me see, the neck was kind of like here. Okay, the body was kind of like long, so I'm gonna have to change the torso a little bit. And I think the neck was longer. And then I had the shoulders. Alright, the shoulder. Had to give him a little bit of like a shoulder guard. So I'm gonna thin down the waist a little bit because our character's design has a little bit more of a like a spinal type of like more of like an accordion style of a waist. So I'm kind of mapping out where do I think I want it to be. And then let me see. So this is, I guess, why having the waist is kind of useful, is because it kind of tells me where these other parts are going to be. So his hips were like quite wide to allow for that like speedy mobility, and because this leg is more pointing this way, I'm actually not going to draw the point. The hip guard, I guess, or the hip joint is actually angled this way. So this one's going more upright, this one's more on the side. Hold kind of this way. And we had a little bit of like the knee, and then we had like the arm. So the arm, I'm going to change it a little bit so that it can kind of match the proportion. So this one is really just me trying to break down like roughly where things are going to be. Not so much like, oh, this is exactly how it's going to look. It's more of like, okay, how do I want it to, like the design, how is it going to match with this? So it gives me a rough starting point. Maybe I'll change the hand design. You see, has like a name tag with yeah, it does. Yeah, it's kind of like a little teacher's desk in a sense. Yeah, it's kind of oh, yeah, so this thing here is called this app that I'm using, it's called Pure Ref. So the cool thing about this is that it is a window that lets you pin it on top of whatever you're working on. So if I click it, you'll notice that it asks like always on top of or always on top. And if I click always on top of, I can click anything and it'll always stay on top of. So if I click Krita, you'll notice it says always on top of Krita now. So that means when I click Krita, it'll still stay there. So it's a really cool tool. I highly recommend anybody who likes gathering reference images and likes to throw them all over the place. I highly recommend kind of checking out this this kind of app. You do have to pay for it, or actually no, you don't have to pay for it, but you know, you can if you want to. And I would say, like, because these guys, you know, they're working to design this app for us and they put in a lot of work, I would recommend kind of paying for it. And it's like it's more of like a pay what you will, so it's kind of nice. So you can pay like $5 or $1 if you want to. Oh, I made the thighs like massive actually, so I'm gonna change that. So this is just the rough. I'm trying to figure out like what the pose would be, how it would work. So this gives me kind of like a rough idea as to what I'm playing with. Usually when I'm coming up with character designs, especially with designs for things I'm not too familiar with, or I don't typically draw too much of, this is what I do to try to solve it. Give myself a little bit of like a working plane and a little bit of like a direction. So it's not just kind of random, I guess. It's not kind of just winged. I don't wing it, but instead I'm basing it off of like this initial pass for the design. And I think I'm gonna keep the toes pointed, but then the wheel is like maybe this way, something like that. Okay, so you can kind of see how I'm taking the design of like my design, like over here, and I'm applying it through the pose. So it's a little bit tricky because one, the proportions are more realistic, and my character has much more exaggerated and longer proportions. So I'm now going to have to take this and change it a little bit. So I'm actually going to ignore the underdrawing, and I'm going to kind of redraw it again, but this time with all the information that I've learned. So I'm just going to take this and move it over here. This is kind of like our rough, basically. And I'm going to take this away. I'm only going to keep this one. Maybe I'll change the pose, or change the size of it a little bit. So now I have something to kind of work on. I've just noticed that, yeah, how did you, oh, okay. The app I use for drawing has something like that built in. Oh, that's cool. I've never tried it with like any other app, but I have used this a lot with PureRef. So PureRef is the one that I'm using, and it's pretty good so far. I really like it. What Gundam anime would you say is is your favorite? I've actually never watched too many. I've only watched Gundam Seed, Gundam Seed Destiny, and Gundam 00. I personally quite like Gundam 00. I feel like that one's less cringy than Seed and Destiny. Seed and Destiny is very like 2000s in its kind of like corniness and cheesiness and very very dramatic. But Gundam 00 is also still dramatic, but I feel like it's a little bit more tame. So I like that a little bit more. Same thing like with Eureka 7. I feel like after watching Eureka 7, like again as an adult, it's a little bit cringy. But I don't know, it has a special place in my heart. Being like the first anime I ever finished. I haven't rewatched Code Geass yet, so I actually don't know if actually don't know if it holds up, but I really liked Code Geass when it first came out. I am not okay with this. That sounds familiar, but I don't think I have. I don't think I've ever watched that. Can it work for desktop and laptop? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm currently working on a desktop, so whatever software you need, you should be able to use it. I'm gonna label these. I'm gonna say rough 1. Oops. Rough 1. Okay. Yeah, I think this is gonna be rough 2. Rough 2. Alright. Okay, so I'm gonna clean this up, and I'm gonna clean this up pretty quickly. What I'm gonna try to clean up is the proportions, because like I said, we are working more off of like human proportions, so a lot of it is going to feel really really weird and awkward. So I'm actually going to elongate the torso a little bit so that it better matches the what am I saying? It better matches the design that I had. Yeah, okay. So I think I'm gonna start with like the head shape first. Gonna kind of just reshape it, because I think I made him a little bit too long. I think it's supposed to be like a little bit more sharper. And I do kind of like this M shape mouth. It's kind of like Kamen Rider. I don't know if you guys have ever watched Kamen Rider before, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of like Kamen Rider. And maybe this one, actually maybe instead of like eyes, maybe I'll give him kind of like a goggle style of like eyes, a bit more like bug-like for the eyes. Maybe that'll make it also like easier on my end in terms of like design wise. Oh, then gotta add this shape here. I do like this kind of weird side shape. I think I was grabbing some inspiration from like the Gundam designs, so but I do like it, so I'm gonna keep it. And the mech reminds me of Ben. Actually, someone said that last time, but here's the thing: I've never watched Ben 10, so it is kind of, I guess, it's kind of funny how it's like, oh, you know, standard speeder design, I guess, is like if this is a common take on a speedster robot design. I just find it funny because I've never watched Ben 10 before, but then someone else was also like, hey, that looks like Ben 10 like speedster design. I'm like, oh really? I would have no idea. I'd never watched Ben 10 before. You know, I'm gonna change the angle of the helmet. I'm gonna put this like maybe here. I'm kind of like, oh, you know, it has a bit of like a bug look. I kind of like the bug design shape that it has. Alright. Maybe more like there, I think would be better. Okay, I'm gonna actually ignore the neck because I think the neck is the most troublesome part. I'm actually gonna try to tackle where the body would be, like where the torso is. So I'm gonna say it's like roughly here. Might have to change the design, the overall look and design of the neck, just so that it's maybe a bit easier to figure out and map out. I'm gonna say, let's say the body is like around here. And we're gonna make, I gave him pretty like a long wingspan. I think the inspiration for it maybe was like from swimmers. You know how like swimmers have like really long kind of shoulders and wingspan? I think it was like a similar kind of inspiration. Kamen Rider. Oh, it's here, I'll put it in the chat. Kamen Rider? Is it? Actually, I might be spelling the rider part wrong. I don't know. If anybody is a Kamen Rider fan, I think, oh, it's just a rider, like a normal ride. Kamen Rider. There. That's what it's called. Okay, chat, like Google, the YouTube live stream changed the spelling, but it's like C-A-M-E-N for common. It's like an old, well, I guess it's still ongoing, but it's kind of an old series back from like the, I don't know, similar to like Ultraman. So I don't know, if you ever grew up watching like Ultraman, it's kind of similar to that. I'm gonna give it like I said, a bit of like a accordion design for the spine, so I can kind of have it wrapping around. I'm basically just gonna give it like a bunch of, I don't know, cylinders for this design look, and I'm just gonna change the angle of the accordion basically. I think I'm just gonna have it angled down. So the reason why I'm cutting in this like little triangle bit is because I'm noticing on Evangelion there's like the same thing where there's a little triangle bit in the middle, and I'm assuming it's to allow for it to bend forward. Kind of like our real spines, like our real biological spines have this little bit of like a dip inside of it to allow for this twisting to happen. So taking note of that and including it in this design as well. I mean, we won't really see too much of it, but so I'm giving it a bit of like a bug look. Only recent started watching Ultraman. Oh man, that's an old series. It's actually a series my dad grew up watching. I never watched, but yeah, he has he loves Ultraman. Here, let's give it a bit of like a joint piece here. Then we can have maybe like the leg attached to it, something like that maybe. And then we'll have the leg be like here. Kind of draw some inspiration from like our bones itself, our skeletal structure. So this kneecap is meant to slide over everything. I'm not finding cool ref in the Microsoft shop. Any chance you can pop the link in that chat? And oh, it's not in the shop or anything. Just search up pure ref. So you know, it's just called pure ref, like pure ref, like that. So it's not in a shop. I don't think you just download it off of their website. Yeah. What's the scariest thing I've ever watched? That is a good question. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I can't think of like what's the scare or like potentially what's the scariest thing that I've watched. Oh, also the Coffee Black says looks like Mega Man. You know, I've never played Mega Man before, but I've been wanting to because there's a podcast that I listen to that and the main guy there, he loves Mega Man. So I'm kind of like, oh, you know what? I keep hearing good things about Mega Man. Maybe I'll like check it out one day. But I don't know. Okay. So I think we got most of the torso down. And I think I'm going to add now the neck part here. The neck part's going to be kind of like a weird one, because it kind of comes around. So I'm just going to erase this part. And maybe I'll draw a little bit of an indication. Fun old school? Yeah, that's kind of what I heard. Is like it's a very fun old school kind of a game, which, you know what, I feel like I'm always down for. Always kind of down to go back to like old school style of games. Oh, I guess this would be a good idea to go refer back to like some of the mecha designs that are here. Okay, I only have one really on screen, and that's kind of the Gundam one. I do kind of like this design though, and I feel like it's very common in Gundam designs to have this type of a guard, so I do quite like it. I'm gonna keep it relatively actually rounded for the feet. because I want the wheel to be there. So this wheel is actually going to be slightly at an angle to kind of, it's almost like drifting. So I kind of want to indicate that the wheel is like drifting a little bit. So here we go, have a little bit of it. Maybe we'll have a little bit of these indicators or marks there. Withered Chica VHS tapes. Oh, I've never heard of that before. Oh, missed so much. Oh, no worries, don't worry. We kind of just started actually, so I wouldn't say you missed too much. Get the feels. You're all good. Just gonna add a little bit just random noise and details inside of the legs, so it looks like there's some mechanical complications inside of it. So we're still, well, I'm still basically figuring out how I want the design of this to look. So I'm still kind of tinkering around with the shape and the design. And let me see, we're gonna go here. I'm gonna make the leg longer. And let me see, it should be, yeah, it should be around here. And I'm gonna add a little bit of like a mechanical joint, just like on the other side. And it's like here, I'm gonna add the kneecap guard. And I'm gonna add the leg. So the leg is kind of like here. Actually, I think I'm gonna draw this at a slight angle, so we're looking at it more from the other side, like here. Guess he's got his what is it, the shoes are on like sports mode for his legs. I'm gonna draw them like here. This one's gonna be angled on in the other direction, so maybe more like this. So maybe something like that. Maybe we gotta make it a little bit bigger. Just a little bit, or clean it up. Gonna have to clean it up just a bit. Alright, there we go. There's the other leg. And then, oh, you know what? I think I'm missing a little bit of just like the body decor. So I'm just gonna add a bit of like just some plates to the body. So it just, the body looks a little bit more developed, I guess. Maybe it could be the new RoboCop from China. Sing Jaywalker. You know, I've actually never watched RoboCop, but I hear that it's very, very good. It's like a classic. It's actually one of like the few classics I still need to watch. Still need to watch like The Godfather. I still need to watch Jaws. I've never watched Jaws. As much as I am like a movie guy, I have still yet to watch Jaws. So yeah, I have a little bit of some movie history to catch up on. I think that's where the other arm would go. And I think, actually, I kind of want it to be more like Flash. So when I take a look at like Flash moving, I feel like the arm is more like this way. And usually you get a, like the hand pushing out a little bit. So the thumb is kind of like here, and then the hand is more like that. I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit too much. Maybe we'll have it be more like that. Alright. Still kind of doing like basic hand shape. And then the other one, let me see. Ooh, how do I want? Okay, the spikes would be more out. Actually, I'm gonna have the thumb be pointed that way. So, by the way, I have a mirror in front of me, and I'm just kind of posing real quickly to figure out like where the position of the hands would be. I like the way you've done the knee. Oh, thank you. Reminds me of suspension. Wait, what is suspension? Never heard of that. He's proposing to his partner in a robotic voice. I've only seen the older ones, the one from 2014. Wait, what? Oh, RoboCop. Oh, yeah. I've only seen the older one from 20. Oh, I've never seen a single RoboCop movie. I feel like the clip of the DC live action Flash running in the movie. So goofy. You know what? Okay, I think it looks goofy, but I kind of like how he runs. How Flash runs in the like the latest DC movie, or like the from the Snyderverse. Car suspension. Oh, okay, cool. The lo-fi music in the background is so soothing. Oh, well, thank you. I picked those songs myself, actually. So glad you like the music. Okay, I think this is getting closer and closer to how I want the was it the design of our character to look. Maybe I might add back in the eyes. I feel like the eyes gave it a certain kind of I don't know, a certain shape to it. I kind of like it. Maybe I gotta make it a little bit closer. Alright. Kind of more bug-like. Okay, cool. Kind of like this. So we kind of simplified a little bit of it. Let me see. This is what it looks like now. So I think what we'll do is clean this one up. So I think by then we should have a finalized mech design. Yeah, so gonna be cleaning this one up and hopefully getting some time to color it. I might actually maybe even lower the body a little bit more, so we have a little bit more gap between like the spine and the legs. Where is it? Right here. Okay, I'm gonna lower this part just like a little bit more. Not too much, but just enough. Right. And I think I did a pretty good job of simplifying it. Because beforehand, the design was a little bit too complicated. So simplified it a little bit more so that we have a little bit, it's a little bit easier to draw and manage. And yeah. Okay. Alright, this is like the sphere actually. There's like a big sphere ball up there. I think that's better. A little bit more dynamic. Makes the torso a little bit longer as well. Yeah. I thought he was fast. How do you see him run? That's a good one. I guess in the movie, but that I like that. That's a funny joke. Let's see. Hydraulic type of suspension. Yeah. Are they really? I don't know. That sounds kind of interesting. Like real RoboCops in China. That's wild. Okay, and then I think I'm just gonna call this lines. So usually when I finish the line work, I just call it lines. I'm gonna lower the opacity for rough 2. And yeah, we're just gonna work from here. So I guess you can kind of see how I do line work. I'm gonna make it relatively thin, but we'll see. Okay. I feel like that's pretty good. I'm gonna make it a little bit more cartoonier just so that it's easier to, I guess, read. But yeah, make the shapes a little bit bigger, make the lines a little bit chunkier so that it's easier to read. But yeah, I guess I'm still gonna stick to how I normally draw though. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Feel free to ask. I'll try to do my best to answer it while talking. If you guys have never, I guess, talked at the same time while drawing, it is a very difficult task to do. So especially when drawing something maybe like this, it's like especially tricky to do. But I will do my best to answer any of your inquiries while drawing. Oops. Could you add some battle damage to the clean version? Oh, sure. Yeah. I like that. For sure. I think that would be cool. Yeah. I'm trying to look at the old version that I drew, and there are certain shapes in it that I kind of like, so I'm trying to bring those back a little bit. Oh, you know what? The center would be maybe here, which would then put the mass of this one maybe like all the way up here, because this visor top is supposed to be kind of big, so I feel like it would be closer to here. If it was coming forwards and sitting on top of his head. Ah, there we go. That makes it look more three-dimensional. I like that. Okay, this one sits here, and then I don't know if anybody's ever watched or if anybody's grown up with like Lego before, but this kind of reminds me of one of the runs. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but there was a certain run of Bionicles that had these enemy designs that had this kind of like shape of a head. I forgot what they were called though. They had a really cool name, but yeah, can't remember them for the life of me. If anybody who grew up around the 2000s like me, you can let me know what they were called. Only one I can find says the pure ref is $20. I don't know, maybe they changed it, but I'm pretty sure you can you pay what you want. So if you get pure ref, I think this is the website, by the way. You can get it. So you see how it says custom amount? So it'll say $15 or $17, but then you can customize how much you want to pay for it. But I feel like it's such a good software that I would just say give them a few bucks. You know, it's not that big of a thing. But yeah, I mean, it's up to you. Honestly, everybody has their own. Everybody's on their own. You're in charge of your own money. So I guess if you feel like you want to hold on to that money, that's okay. But I feel like it's such a good software that I just paid them $15 because I was like, you know what, I like what you guys do, so I gave them some money. Is Pure for Android? No, I think it's for anything. Any kind of like any software device. So, yeah. I remember the line, but I don't remember this type. Yeah, so if anybody ever grew up with like Bionicles before, they had this line of Bionicles where yeah, it was just like these kind of poisonous type, and it sounds crazy saying this out loud now, but they rode on like surfboards, and the surfboards were like their swords. Man, toys in the 2000s were wild. But basically they were on these surfboards, and like they would like get off of their surfboards, and the surfboards would turn into like blades, like spinning blades, I think. Based on my memory. I might be remembering, I could be remembering it like way off, but yeah, they had like like the designs of those Bionicles was like that. It was so cool. I feel like toys in the day, man, they just like, they were not ashamed to just do whatever they wanted and just see what see what happens. But yeah, it was like a really cool design. What's the software for? It's for if you want to put references on top of your drawing software. So if you're ever drawing and if you've ever was doing like a study and you're like, oh, I always want to be able to see my reference while I'm drawing, that's kind of what Pure Ref is for. So that's what I'm using here on the side. I took it off my screen, but it's this thing over here. So while I'm drawing, I can have this over here on the side. We don't really need our layers anymore, so I'll keep it here. But I can draw, and you'll notice that I'm clicking and drawing on Krita, and this window doesn't disappear. So this thing is called Pure Ref. It lets me attach like images and references, and I can like look at it while drawing, and it doesn't like disappear. So that's kind of what I'm using it for. Yeah. That was basically it. So someone was just kind of asking like, oh, what is this that I'm using, and what is it called? So yeah, it's called Pure Ref is what I am using. Yeah, I'm gonna shade it in. I feel like that would be cool anyways. Yeah, so the design is changing maybe like a little bit to accommodate for just the drawing of it, but overall still relatively the same. There we go. I feel like that's pretty cool. There we go. I feel like this looks very mech design. Very mech coded. They really lean into the imagination of the part of playing. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Bionicles. Oh man, Bionicles was so cool. I don't know if people feel the same way about like Ninjago. Like I don't know if Ninjago has like the same amount of reputation. So like before Ninjago, it was Bionicles. So like if you grew up around that period where Bionicles was like a thing, dude, that was the thing, you know. That's like the toy every kid wanted. It just like was Bionicles. And this up a little bit. like a piece of steak, I feel like. You know, maybe I might add a piece here just to give it a little bit of complexity to the shape of the drawing. Just like a little bit. Alright, that's pretty good. I like that. There we go. It's a little bit more mechanical looking. Hi all from NYC. Oh, hello. Hey, Eddie's. Sedgwick. Thank you so much. I used to use a program called Ghosted, but because it was the faded, I was getting all the colors or details. Ah, okay. Well, glad the Pure Ref app helps you out. Hopefully it serves you well in your drawing process and journey. Just a piece of steak here. I'm confused for a long moment. I'm like drawing in the spines, and yeah, they're looking like pieces of steak. So I was just like, you know, yeah, I just kind of leaned into it. I'm like, yeah, sure, let's just make it look like a piece of steak. But cool to see you or hear that you're drawing along. This is gonna be like a jeweled gem, so kind of put this like here. It's gonna be like an eyeball, I guess, looking. Smoke from forest is blowing over. Oh no. You guys have forest? Well, it kind of happened north of us, so I guess a little bit of a geography lesson. We here at Wing Canvas, most of us are situated in an area called Toronto. Toronto is southern, or yeah, like southern Ontario. So Ontario's what we call a province. Province is kind of like the similar equivalent to like a state, but it's a little bit different. But just to make it simpler, it's kind of like a state. But yeah, the part of northern Ontario got set on fire. There was like some forest fires happening. So yeah, a lot of that smoke and everything is kind of blown over. And yeah, there was one day where I just woke up and the entire sky was orange. So it was like, whoa, what is happening here? And then only turn on the news, find out that, yeah, parts of northern Ontario had a forest fire. And so, yeah, it's unfortunate. A lot of people lost their homes, and it's, yeah, but I think it's been, I think it's been contained. I actually haven't checked the news to see what is happening right now. But I think it's been contained, because the orange yellow sky has died down and it's not really there anymore, but a lot of the smoke and the residual like just smell and haze is just blowing down south because of just like due to wind and everything. So yeah, that's kind of what's happening a little bit, but so far everything on our end here is fine. It's mostly those who are affected are those in northern Ontario. So yeah, it's a little sad, but hopefully people are able to you know, get their homes back. People are able to figure, or like the government is able to kind of help them out, and get things figured out, but I haven't looked too much into what is going on at the moment, so not super updated on it, but yeah. Yeah, a lot of kind of stuff happening over these past few days. Oh, hello, Cult of the Hermits. Hello, hello. I live in a fieldy, dry area, so our government is burning the fields to stop the fire. It smells terrible and cough a lot. Yeah, there was like a huge like warning for anybody who was like outside. It's like, hey, you know, if you don't need to, don't walk outside, don't take your dog outside. Yeah, the first day there was I forgot to wear a mask, and yeah, it was it kind of builds up. Like at first you're like, oh, this kind of just smells like a campfire, and then afterwards the smell kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but it kind of like builds up, and the smell just like lingers, and it's not great. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, luckily I think it was like it didn't spread any further, so yeah. Everybody here, like in southern Ontario, is okay, but it's more of like the rural areas up north that's getting the worst of it. So, yeah. Yeah, it's good to stay indoors for now until like the wind blows it over and it kind of clears out a little bit. Yeah. It also doesn't help that it's been like really, really hot outside as well, so it makes it even harder to kind of what is it, a little bit harder to, like, if you need to go outside, it's real bad, I guess, because of like the heat and everything. So yeah. But hopefully everybody stays safe, and hopefully your area is well ventilated. It's not like crazy like, oh, it died, the fires is very far away, but it's windy. Then yeah, it's yeah, it's not that bad for us as well. It's just kind of, the smell's not great and the air quality is not advisable. Yeah, but other than that, it's okay for us down here in southern Ontario. Do people say southern? Like southern? I don't know. Southern Ontario is okay. I actually didn't know it passed over into New York, but that kind of makes sense. I think, what was it like? Was it last year or something? There was also like a forest fire or something, and it like passed into like New York as well. So yeah, I guess like if anything ever happens in like Quebec or in Ontario, ultimately New York also gets it as well. Yeah. So they make more fires. Yeah, so what they do is, in order to prevent fire from spreading, they burn a lot of like the dry patches that haven't been caught on fire. Because in order for the fire to spread, the fire needs to have fuel, like it needs something to latch onto. So what fire control, like what the people in charge of like controlling fire do, is they burn areas that they think the fire will spread to block it off, essentially, so that the fire doesn't get any more fuel from like dry patches of grass. So it's like, imagine, I guess, a little side lesson or note. If the fire is like here, and it's kind of, they can kind of see that it's moving this way, and there's a bunch of fresh grass here, the fire is going to push this way. So what they do is they burn all of the fresh grass here, so that when the fire moves in, there's nothing to burn. So then it's like a control burning. Yeah, yeah. So then it doesn't really like spread as much, or it doesn't spread as quickly, and then they're able to like uh stop it with like water and whatnot. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Growing up, I'm quite fine with 80 degrees Fahrenheit inside. Too bad I get hot easily, and it makes drawing a smidge difficult. I what I'll do is for anybody who has like sweaty hands, I also have like very sweaty hands when I draw as well. So what I'll do is I will put a piece of paper down or wear a glove. So it won't be like a mitten, like a winter mitten, but I'll wear like these you know, those tablet drawing gloves, so that my hands don't sweat as much or like sweat through to the paper. And also I do it so that like with the paper my hand is able to glide a bit more easily. But yeah, that's kind of what I do for if anybody has like sweaty hands and needs a way to prevent the hands from like sticking to the paper. Yeah, I use another piece of paper on top of the sketchbook, and then I also use like a glove so that my hand is able to glide more smoothly. Maybe it might sound a little weird, but but trust me, it works. It kind of helps to soften the I don't know, the skidding a little bit, because I know what happens like is like when you're drawing and your hands get sweaty, your hand kind of sticks and grips the paper, or it kind of like, I don't know, dampens the paper, so it's like a little warped. So what I do is I kind of get a piece of paper underneath it. So that's what I do. Oh, someone asked also wait, Culto Lamb, I think you asked like did we do the art challenge today? No, not today. Didn't have enough time unfortunately to look at some submissions, but I know that you're super like great at submitting stuff, so keep it up. Cult of the Labs. Hopefully like Faye tomorrow is able to give you guys a bit of a shout out if she's able to. If not, there's still a good amount of time left for the monthly art challenges, so hopefully I'll get a chance to take a look at the last some group of submissions and give you guys a little bit of some love. And oh, also you asked, is there a name? I feel like there is no name. There is no name, unfortunately, for my character. So if you guys want to name my character, be my guest. I am always down to take some names for my characters, because I never bother putting any time to naming my characters. Let me see. Oh, also, yes, gotta get the hand guard. Yeah, I think that's what it was. 3 years ago, NYC had a Martian, red skies, smoke blowing down from. I think it was Quebec that time. That year, I think it was like Quebec had a forest fire and it got blown down from Quebec. So yeah, I feel like New York's stuck in a weird, like, unfortunate spot because it gets a lot of like the downwind. Is it downwind? I don't know what it's called, but like the wind that blows it all down, kind of thing. Okay, the hand's gonna look a little funny. I don't know if I have enough time to like do the hands, but I don't know. We'll see. I think it's because the hands may be a bit too thin. Yeah, maybe we'll just stick to that for now. It's gonna look a little off, but it's okay. Goal is to finish this, and then we have half an hour left, so hopefully I'm gonna block in the drawing just like a little bit. Oh, and then what was it? Somebody asked for battle damage, so I will add some battle damage to our character here. Also, if anybody has any name suggestions, I would love some name suggestions. Have not actually thought of any names. Surprise, surprise, surprise. As you guys know, I'm not really much of one for giving my characters names, so unfortunately my character has no names. So if you guys want to give some names, I am all ears as always. Maybe I just need to make it a bit bigger. I don't know. Or have it be more like this, maybe? So I feel like that's a little bit better. I just put my hands away on my trousers. I mean that works too. Helps with the smoke and it cools the air a bit. Making a filter with wet bed sheets, so put it over your open windows. Oh, I mean the AC is outside, so for me we don't have to do anything. Like the air gets filtered anyway, so it's fine inside. It's just outside, yeah. It's right. I mean right now it's fine. But the first day it happened, yeah, it was advisable to not go outside, and if you do, to wear a mask. Yeah. I'm a little concerned about the controlled fires because some of them are a little bit close to residential areas. Yeah, I can kind of see that that's kind of a little bit scary. Legs up for names. That's funny. Arrow. I don't know. Arrow, that's not too bad. I feel like that could work. I feel like that's a little on the nose, but it's not bad. I kind of like it. Okay, let's take off the rough. So here's our character design. I feel like the line work's a little bit inconsistent, but I guess that's what's gonna happen when I'm drawing for stream sometimes. The line work quality is not gonna be like my usual, the way I like it to be, for if I were to refine this. So right now it seems like most of it is thin, so I might kind of go back in and just thin it down a little bit. But I like how it turned out. I really like how the legs turned out. The arms and the hands are a little bit iffy, but you know, I'll take it. I think it works out. So I'm gonna erase some parts of it just so that it's not too heavy on the line work, so that it kind of balances out a little bit more. So it's a little bit more even, because I think at first I was like, oh, I'm gonna add all these thick lines, and then afterwards I think I changed my mind. I was like, oh, never mind. I want it to be more thin lines, so I'm gonna adjust it a little bit so that it matches a little bit closer to the other lines that are there. So yeah, I'm just gonna clean these parts up a little bit, and then we'll color it, because I think this actually ended up looking pretty good. I think what we can do is also add maybe like a little oh, maybe like a number. I feel like numbers are always like kind of cool on like mechs. Five, 512. Is there a meaning to this? Nope, but I'm just like, 512. I feel like that's a cool number. Sounds cool. Why does it sound cool? I don't know. It just does. So 512. We'll call it that. I think that's pretty neat. Speedster. This robot makes no sense. It does not. It's that's kind of the cool part of designing, is just like have it just be cool for the sake of cool. sometimes it doesn't need to make sense. You know, what does it mean? I don't know. It gets the people going. Oh, you know, I'm just gonna cut it down right here. Any number sounds cool. Just look. Oh my god. I guess that's true. It's you could technically turn any number to be cool. That's very true. Okay. I think this is good enough for the cleanup. I think we'll go ahead and color it real quick. Let's see, what do I, you know, let's just use this. So if you guys are new here and you don't know how I like to color, basically I like to get a really large brush and we're just going to color it a random color. And this time, let's just go for like, you know, let's go for orange. Gonna color the whole thing in. Actually, maybe we'll go for blue because I actually think I want the color to be red. So I think we'll be able to see like the blue a little bit more. So kind of color it in like this. And just make sure we don't miss any spots. There we go. I think that covered everything. Or at least most of everything. And then we're going to go in and erase everything. So I'm going to go and just turn this on to an eraser tool. Oops. And just erase everything. And try to keep it clean and consistent. But because this is just like a quick drawing for stream, I'm just going to try to do it as quick as possible. But if you do it in this way, I do recommend that you take some time to make sure that your colored areas and the erasing and the cleanup is like clean and as clean as you can get it to be. But I like kind of this method just because it gives it a bit more of like a hands-on feel and it makes it just to feel a little bit more of like a, I don't know, it gives it a bit more of like a personal touch in a way to the drawing. So it's doesn't really have that manufactured detailed look. So any kind of like mistakes or areas you forgot to like cover or color or erase, it kind of shows up when you clean it up and do the coloring for it. So I kind of just like that look, just the tiny little mistakes that kind of show up here and there. I kind of like that aspect of it. So yeah, it may take some time. It might be a little bit slow on like the cleanup part, but I personally do like doing it this way. Speedster. I guess that's true. We can just, I don't know. I feel like calling it Speedster is a little bit of a cop-out. It's like, I don't know. Just calling it Speedster. Also, I think maybe I'll draw like a tiny little person next to it, so it's kind of like a reminder that this is supposed to be like a mech design. So like mech, I feel like the whole genre of mech, the big part of it is having like a pilot inside of the mech. So we'll draw like a tiny little pilot next to it so you can kind of see the scale of the design. I guess also for this kind of a drawing, there's a lot more details to it just because it's a mech design, so there's a lot more kind of like shapes and nooks and crannies and hidden areas. The shape's a bit more complex. And control from the outside? I guess that's true. It could make it like a remote control if if we wanted to, but I feel like that's not the same. You know, like the whole mech genre, I feel like a big part of it is having a pilot on the inside, you know. But that's a good point. Technically, I guess you could have someone piloting on the outside. Well, I'm not gonna draw the, what is it? I'm not gonna draw the pilot like full detail, just to kind of show the more of like the scale. So it's more just to show like, oh, this is how big the robot is in comparison to like a person, so that you can kind of see the scale. Because I feel like what's missing here is just like a sense of scale. It's hard to tell that this thing is supposed to be like a ginormous robot. So I feel like having a human next to it, a human next to it, will just help to give it a bit of scale. Accolon? Oh, is that a name? Oh, I kind of like that name. Sounds kind of cool. Does it mean anything, Accolon, or is it just like this is just a cool sounding name that someone just came up with off the top of their head? Okay, we're becoming an anime. No, I guess, yeah. I feel like mecha is a very, very much anime kind of a thing, no? I feel like it's very rare for like Western mechas. I feel like that's not a Western kind of a genre. Because even like Pacific Rim, is very much like accepting of the fact that it's based on like Japanese mecha, like that genre is mecha. I don't know, is mecha design like a Japanese? I always thought it was more of like a Japanese thing, so it makes sense that it's just like is like very anime in terms of its concept. We're almost done. Just gonna clean up this area. Actually, the most complicated area is this area right here. Okay. It'll take some time. Just like slowly chisel away the paint. Is the genre by default? Yeah, that's true. Can't wait to see who the pilot is. I mean, okay, it's literally just gonna be, I think, a stick figure. I'm not gonna do anything fancy for the pilot. It's literally just to show the sense of scale. Was not intending on designing a fully fleshed out, detailed pilot. So sorry to disappoint if anybody was expecting like a full-on pilot. Okay, here we go. Here's our base design and our silhouette. So I feel like it turned out pretty good. Oh, Zippo. Oh, that's kind of pretty cool. The only mecha I've watched is Voltron. Oh, true, Voltron. Is Voltron? Wait, is Voltron Japanese or is that Western? I don't know. I love Japanese horror stories, not the anime ones. Yeah, Japanese has some pretty good horror stories. 100% a Japanese thing. I believe most mecha-related things that are popular in the West originated from Japan, like Transformers. I know it's not mecha technique. That's true. Yeah. Oh, okay. Wait, what was the name you suggested? Accolon. Okay. Yeah, I'll write that here. We'll put that down. We'll go like as a name suggestion. Accolon. Voltron is animated in Japan but aired in America in the 80s, I believe. Okay. I mean, I only watched the new Voltron series, so that's all I knew of it. Okay, before I continue reading on with chat, I'm gonna show you guys how I color. So I'm gonna name this blue silhouette the base silhouette. And if you guys have watched this before, this is kind of as standard. This standard. So I'm gonna right-click base silhouette, and I'm gonna go to group, and I'm gonna go to quick clipping group, and now I'm gonna color. So I'm gonna name the clipping group folder colors. And the mask layer, let me see. What was the inspiration for the colors? Okay, red and white. Probably gonna go for like red, white. I do kind of like the orange. What if we go like more, I don't know. I guess we did kind of go, well, yeah, we'll go with red. Okay, so red and white I think is the direction. I'm just gonna color this flat. Not gonna go and add any kind of like shading or anything to it. Yeah, just so that you can kind of get it through quickly. Or maybe the inside, the torso should be like a dark color. And then the inside can be like a white over here. I don't know. If we have time, maybe I'll do a little bit of some shading, but for the most part, I think I'm just gonna keep it. Flat. And okay, so how's the? Okay, it's like red. Yeah, I guess we'll keep it like red, basically, for the whole thing, mostly, except for some like areas here and there. Change it up a little bit. Okay, the helmet, I'm pretty sure we gotta have that be red. This actually reminds me of like a Gundam I had when I was like a kid, I think. Yeah. It was also like a red and white kind of a Gundam. I guess this also works really well for like Canada, like Canadian kind of a bit of like the dark green here. But like yeah, Canadian colors right here for maybe that's kind of what we're going for. We're going for the Canadian design. This is a Canadian mecha right here. Is 100. Oh wait, so Voltron is 100% American, but it was based off 2 mecha animes. Ah, well, that's kind of cool to know. I love the fact checking Sephora. I actually really like using it. That's kind of inspiration. Aren't Transformers like organic alien? Are they? I mean, wait, are they? I actually know nothing about what is it? I know nothing about what is it? Transformers lore. So, if you wanna share some knowledge of Transformers lore, I'm all for it. Canada mentioned, yeah. That's right. Gotta give the Canadian shout out. Okay, I think I definitely want like some parts of the helmet at the top to be white as well. So I think maybe like these areas here and have these be white. And this part can be white as well. This was like the collar. Actually, what color is the collar for? Yeah, oh, okay, it's red. Okay, maybe I'll have this one be like a darker red, though. The collar. Collar is gonna be like a darker red. Just so it's a little bit separated from the lighter red that's there. And there we go. I feel like that's pretty cool. I'll have, you know, I'm gonna lean in more into this darker red over here on the inside. So the head shape is like that, and then the jewel, I feel like it's we gotta make it like a green jewel shape for like that kind of beam. Okay, there we go. Kind of like that. Wait, they're 100% organic? Really? I didn't. I have no idea. The Allspark. You guys need someone to color in flats though, because I believe in the later movies they have like organic parts to them and little less mechanic. Really? Oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Transformers Autobots lore is so complicated. I hear some of it and it's like sounds cool, and I'm just like but I feel like I check out because I'm just like, man, this sounds way too complicated to kind of like dive into. So I'm just like, sounds cool. I will leave it to those who really love the series. They're mechanical more on Earth, especially for those that blend. Oh, okay. They're not really blending in as far as I know. That's true. The Allspark is something that's that's for sure. The Allspark. You know, like what is it? Oh, what's that guy's name? Does anybody know the voice actor for Optimus Prime? Dude, that voice is that's such an iconic voice. It's such a good voice. We're blending it. Yeah. Did he pass away? Did he? I have no idea. Did he pass away? Also, let me look that up. Yeah. Peter Cullen. Ah, yeah. That sounds, I mean, that sounds about right. Wait, the Allspark is death? Is it? You know, as someone who has absolutely no idea about anything related to Transformers, that's interesting. I just looked up. He is dead. Oh, he died? No way. Oh, dang. Allspark is just what gives Transformers their sentience and life. Reef Search gave it. Yeah, that was the Allspark. Dang, he passed away. That's unfortunate. Well, R.I.P. to an amazing voice actor. So wait, is someone replacing him for Invincible then? Or does someone do like a Peter Cullen Peter Cullen kind of like a voice, because I know that he's in Invincible. Oh wait, no, that guy died too. Wait, oh wait, whoops, spoilers. My bad. Whoops. I guess for anybody who keeps up with Invincible, just ignore what I said. Um, but yeah, I guess okay, never mind. I'll keep quiet for anybody. I guess there are some people who haven't watched it yet and plan on watching it. But yeah, dang. But either way, that's still sad. Sad that he passed away. Yeah, it just dawned on me. I was like, wait, who's gonna replace his voice then? But yeah, oh well. Oh, and what was it? Your recoloring method is satisfying to watch. Oh, well, thank you, Kelzer. Glad you like it. It's a very just quick way, I think, for me to just like really lay in the colors and everything without having to think too much about it. So yeah, it's pretty, I would say it's relatively satisfying for me as well to just color in. And I think because everything is contained in, I love that I don't have to worry about painting inside of like the shapes or making sure things stay in the lines. Like obviously on the inside they do, but for the most part I don't have to worry about it too much. So that's always nice. Where's it? Okay. And I would say like this is like a very simple way of coloring too. So if any of you guys ever want to color and stay inside the lines and be able to change the colors. So I guess for a quick recap, in case anybody has never seen me use the clipping group before to color, the reason why I use this method is because one, it allows me to change the colors really quickly. So for example, if you're coloring in something and you're like, oh, you know, I don't know how to, like, I've put in the colors, but I don't like the colors that I painted. Like, I don't like that it's red, and you want to change it to blue now. Well, now all I have to do is just color it in, like this, and boom, I have blue. And now it's an American Speedster, so. But, so doing clipping groups is, like, really, really useful and just really handy because it just makes coloring things in just much more, I don't know, straightforward, I guess. And easy to change. So I like it. I like it a lot. And the difference between a clipping group and a alpha lock is that alpha lock, it gets restricted to just one layer, whereas a clipping group you get to make multiple layers. So you can always experiment and delete some stuff if you want to. So again, I guess I could show you an example. So for example, yeah, I can make a new layer. And I'll color it in blue right now. And it's like, oh no, wait, it went outside of the lines. I just have to click the A and it'll lock it back into the arm. And if I'm like, oh, you know what, I changed my mind about the blue, don't like the blue, then I can delete it and it won't change anything after that. So it's kind of great. It makes just customizing and changing things much, much faster. So yeah, it's a great way of coloring, at least in my opinion. Makes it very easy. But even though I'm painting everything on one layer right now, if I were to add like lighting, or if I really wanted to, I don't know, make it a bit more complicated in terms of like the colors, I would probably start implementing like different layers to it. So it's easier to kind of keep track of. But because we're kind of a little bit tight on time, not gonna do that. Just gonna keep it straightforward like this. So yeah, now I'm gonna make the upper arm part white. I'm gonna keep everything else red, and yeah, So this part, oh, what part is that? Oh, it's the upper arm. I think that would be this part here. Cool. There we go. Here's our dude. And the hands, we'll just color in the hands real quick. I guess these things here can be like the palm guards, those can be white. Alright, here's our speedster character. I'm gonna maybe add like a little bit of like the green kind of highlight here just to make it look like it's like a shiny jewel object here. A little bit brighter. Alright, there we go. It looks pretty cool. It's been like 8 years since I was huge into it. Josh reading the chat like Tuesday. Is it? Yeah, I mean, I always gotta like go back and see what you guys say. I looked away for a few minutes and he's already done colored in last year in the blue and yellow. Yeah, I mean, it's all flat, so it's not too bad. I like the blue hands if they stay blue. Really? Oh, if sure, you know what, Zipporah, you wanted the blue hands, we'll give it the blue hands. Let's see. Maybe I don't know if I'll make it like that blue, but we can make the hands blue. Sure. Can make it blue. Maybe a little bit more blue. I don't know. How blue do you want the hands to be? Have them be more... I guess you can kind of get a sense that it's blue. If the eyes are blue too, I think the blue this kind of blue is good. Okay. Sure, we can have the eyes be blue too. I feel like maybe if they were blue, I would want them to be a little bit noticeable that they were blue. So I'm just gonna make it a little bit blue. You know, we'll make this blue too. Over here, like the nose area. There we go. Oh, you know, I forgot about the decor. Okay, the decor. Let me just quickly add in like these, color these parts in. And there. Oh, it turned out pretty good. Okay, I forgot to add like the battle damage, so I think I'm just gonna quickly put in the battle damage part, and then we'll call it there. So I'm just gonna go back to the lines, and I'm just gonna add a few like scratches or just like a few nicks here and there, not too much, just so that you can kind of see it. So the way I like to do like cracks is just like these really shaky vein looking kind of lines to make it look like, you know, it's been kind of like dented or it's been like beaten up, maybe even bits of it is starting to like crack a little bit, just so that it adds a bit more like personality to the design, and it just makes it feel like it's been hardened and battle damaged, as someone was requesting. I forgot who it was, but yeah, you know, I'm also, let's add a little bit of like a crack on the face, maybe like a few scratches on it. I think that would be kind of neat. Yeah, not too much, but just like a few here and there throughout the piece. Alright, cool. It's more like a texture. If my inspiration for this kind of texture is, I don't know if anybody's ever watched Hellboy or read Hellboy before. Mike Mignola has an amazing way of just adding texture and noise to his like drawings that feel very just like subtle, and I feel like that's kind of my inspiration for it. Now we just pretend that it's from an actual anime. Oh yeah, gotta add the okay, I think I'm gonna add one more thing. I'm just gonna add like a shine. I think it'll just add a nice little accent color to the drawing, and I'm just gonna pick a really random opposite color so that we can just add these like light shine. Maybe we'll have it be like yellow, I don't know, something very Something very like random. Maybe blue. Maybe blue would be good. Actually, yeah. Let's go back to blue. We'll add a few kind of just hot spots here. Make it look like it's kind of hit with a little bit of like a blue lighting. It's kind of cool. Gives it a little bit of dimension, but it comes off more as like edge lighting a little bit, and it's just grazing like the little bits and parts of the character here. So it gives it just a little bit of just accent notes. So we're just going to put it anywhere that's facing the right side only. So anywhere that starts tucking inside of the figure, I'm not going to add it there, but just on like these areas here. So it looks like we're giving our character a little bit of like some extra accent colors here and there. Just adds a little bit more depth to the drawing without having to actually do any like lighting and whatnot. So you can try this out on your own. It's just like nice little accent colors. And it doesn't have to be realistic to a certain degree, so kind of go at it, have some fun with it. I feel like it kind of gives it a little bit of like pop. This looks fire. Oh, thank you, Zipporah. I think we'll give it maybe just like a little bit of backlighting as well, just like a little bit. We'll go like soft purple maybe. Just for like some areas on the back. So this is not like lighting because we're not adding like shadows or anything like that. We're just adding a little bit of these accent colors to it. And if you're like, oh Josh, they're a little bit hard to see, don't worry, we gotta have something up my sleeve just a little bit, just so that this stands out more. And we're gonna, I don't know, put it in the background, maybe. Just like a subtle background. Okay, I'm gonna actually extend the canvas a little bit more. So then we can move everything over. And let's give it a background. Let's just do a square, like a regular old square. Maybe like a... I don't know, like let's try some colors out. I don't know. Loving this? Oh, thank you, thank you. Or maybe we go for more like... just kind of experimenting a little bit, trying some things out. Don't know. I'm just playing around with it. Maybe like the move when the does the pilot? I have no idea. You know. We'll just trying some things out. Yeah, I kind of like the blue. Maybe we'll go back to like the blue color. Even though it kind of blends in with it. I don't know, I'm kind of okay with it. Maybe like one more blue rectangle. This one will be like slightly skewed, maybe? That's okay. Whatever. I think it's kind of okay that it's not too in your face, maybe. Oh, right, the pilot. Okay, well, let me add the pilot real quick. It's just literally gonna be little silhouette pilot. So nothing too crazy. So the pilot, I feel like usually pilots are about like, they're like about this big. Or like for scale. For scale. We'll just write that here maybe. For scale. Alright. Scale. That's a huge, isn't that, I feel like that's how big mechs usually are. They're absolutely massive. Okay, so I guess this is it. So here is everything that we've went into. Don't let it near a city. That's also true. I guess the functionality of it, we don't worry about it. So here is our mech. Kind of maybe like before we close it off, I'll kind of run over like everything that we kind of did to build up to this moment over right here. So last week, to kind of show you kind of generally how designing processes can be. So remember, we started off with looking at some inspiration, looking at some how like other people design mechs, paying attention to kind of like the physical traits that are there, and then gave ourselves a little bit of a theme to work off of. So that's kind of like what all these things down here are for. Then we looked up some references to give ourselves an idea of like what we could do to, in terms of like the color scheme, as well as like how to draw the character. And then we kind of did some roughs, so some ideation, some planning to figure out like what it could look like, the shape of it and everything. And then so in the final version of it, I took everything that we planned from last week, like here, and showed you guys how I take a pose and extract information from it so you can use it to help you draw and design your characters. So we took this pose of this ice skating figure here, and then I deconstructed it to find the mannequin, and then while using the mannequin, drew on top of it a general gist, got a very, very generous like kind of version of my character overlaid on top of that mannequin, and then using that overlay to essentially elaborate further on it and come to this kind of version of our character here. So yeah, this is kind of what we kind of worked on. Actually, okay, this is a small thing. I'm not gonna change it. So I actually am noticing is like, oh, I should probably make the leg and the back maybe a little bit longer, but it's okay, we'll just leave it for now. So here it is. Here's our character Accolon. I'm just gonna call it Accolon, I don't know, with a little pilot silhouette on the side for a sense of scale. But yeah, it's kind of cool. I really like how this turned out. So hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I had a lot of fun designing it. I don't actually typically draw mechs a lot of the time, so hopefully what this also shows you is that you don't have to be able to draw everything to be able to draw something. A lot of times, in order to figure out how something should look, it requires a lot of planning, requires looking at some references, relying on stuff that you are good at drawing. So in this case, I typically draw humans and people, so I use that to my advantage in terms of designing and coming up with the look and design of this character. So that's why I used a lot of like the figure drawing, the mannequin deconstruction, and use that to help create this one here, while also looking at inspiration from like Evangelion and Gundam to help curate how to draw my characters. So a lot of it really is kind of using references and guides and using roughs to help curate and guide how you're going to draw. So a lot of it is kind of doing a lot of the busy work and research ahead of time before you commit to like your final drawing, especially for something that you might not be super familiar with in terms of the design and the look of. So yeah, hopefully this kind of encourages you guys to tackle things that you're maybe not too familiar with or you've never given a shot to. I always say, you know, you never know until you try it out, and I feel like after you give it a shot, you'll always will learn something from it to help you improve down the road. So yeah. Okay, so I guess I'll leave this here while I read off the closing statements. But thank you everybody for joining us. If this is your first time joining us, unfortunately the stream is at an end, but you guys can always catch the VOD or the VOD afterwards. So if you missed the beginning half of the stream or you missed portions of it, you can always watch the recording and the replay afterwards, after the stream ends. And yeah, thank you for joining our stream. My name is Josh, and I'm one of the hosts here at our Wing Canvas live streams. If this is your first time and you don't know who we are at Wing Canvas, well, we are a school of illustration, and we do YouTube videos, and we try to give you guys free arts education on our YouTube channel with our videos as well as live streams. But we're also a online school, so if you want to check us out further, there's a whole collection of classes that you can attend and be a part of. In fact, actually, I have a character design intensive happening this week as well as the week afterwards. So if you want to kind of improve your character designing skills, I am hosting a character design, basically an intensive workshop from the 20th all the way to the 31st, and there's still some room and still some time to apply. So if you want to check that out, and if you want to be a part of that, definitely check out our summer intensives, especially my character design intensive that I'll be running. But if you don't want to be a part of the intensives but want to just check out our classes, we also have weekly classes such as drawing and painting classes, figure drawing classes, and digital illustration classes. So if any of those sound good to you, check out our website for more information. And if you enjoyed the stream, definitely like and subscribe so that this way you are notified of when we go live next. And to give you guys a little bit of a heads up preview, the next stream is going to be Monday, July 20th, where Faye will finally be streaming again, because I know that we've been having basically 4 weeks of non-stop Josh streams. The Faye is finally returning, and she is going to help you improve your color for digital artists. And then on Friday, we actually have a special stream with a new instructor of ours, I believe. So Seth will be streaming on Friday, and he'll be going over how to storyboard. And then I'll be streaming again on Saturday, July 25th. And it'll be an Ask Me Anything, an AMA with me. So I'll be drawing your requests. If you have anything in particular or subject you would like for me to tackle, put it in the chat, and I'll put out a poll as well on our YouTube community post to ask what you guys would like for me to draw. So yeah, that's what you guys have to look forward to. If you want to follow us further, definitely check us out on Discord and on Instagram. Discord is where I'll be posting this demo here along with all the notes and the breakdowns. And if you aren't able to follow us on Discord, you can follow us on Instagram as well. This demo will be going up, but probably just the drawing part of it. So yeah, if you want to kind of keep an eye on our updates and what we're doing for each term, as well as kind of keep up to date with all the demo notes, check us out on our social media platforms. And yeah, I think that's about it. So hope you guys enjoyed this one, and yeah, stay safe out there, stay cool if you guys are going out, and if it's smoky in your area, I guess wear a mask and walk out cautiously. And yeah, have a good weekend, everybody. Hope you guys have a good one. Bye bye. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.